Alrighty. Welcome everyone to our third finishing school. Today we're going to be talking about Extreme Lotus. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about the boss because most of the mechanics are identical to normal and hard. The only thing here is everything is a lot quicker, things come out all at once, so you need to know how to navigate multiple patterns at once. It's very much like P3 of Black Mage. As always, just remember to give yourself roles in our Discord. We do have a Lotus role, so if you ever get pinged at Lotus, that usually means someone is looking for a X-Lot partner or wants to practice X-Lot. As a reminder, if you need to know whether you are ready to do this boss, use your Maple Scouter. It's very hard to tell a person individually, like, you have the stats to do it because it all depends on Hexa, it all depends on IED, it depends on your hands and your capability of, like understanding a boss really quickly or slowly, and your practice. A lot of factors go into it, so make sure you check Scouter. So with this boss in particular, it's the exact same thing as hard, except for the gauge, the Annihilation Gauge, this is called, moves a lot faster. As you can see, this is how much it increases by over time. It doesn't seem like a lot, and phase 3 actually doesn't increase at all because it's supposed to decrease if you do things properly. Make sure that you are not in Annihilation mode. Your ultimate goal for this fight is to be out of Annihilation. So anything that's orange, Annihilation, get out of it. And this is just the timers for when Annihilation is and when your safe mode is in phase 3, since you're pretty much always in Annihilation that phase. So in order to lower your Annihilation gauge, you want to hit Lotus with any of his important attacks that can actually lower the gauge, including some lasers, chains. We'll go into depth about all those. But getting hit increases the gauge, as in your character, anytime you are hit by something, it will increase, vice versa. It will decrease when those attacks hit Lotus instead. The attacks not being your own attacks that come out of your character, but the field attacks that Lotus spawns. So quick recap for phase 1. There is a shield in this phase. I find this the most annoying part because it can really disrupt a burst if you don't know how to time it properly. There's a 30-second cooldown, 25 seconds when he does it the first time, and if you don't break the shield in time, he will recover some HP. So it's very important for you to do damage onto the shield as well as get hit by the attacks that we're going to mention after, because they do impact how much HP the shield will have. As you can see, these are the 4 ways to break the shield. By attacking, hitting the shield with lasers, crossing lasers, hitting the shield with chains, and hitting the shield with the big leg, which is a little different than hard mode. This is going to be the first introduction to the big leg. So, in order to break the shield, one of the main attacks that he does is the crossing lasers. Anytime you see this GIF right here, it's a little SNL bit, but she's being followed by paparazzi. That pretty much means that you're going to be honed in. The boss is going to lock into the position that your character was previously standing on, and then when it blinks is the final lock, and that's where the damage is actually going to be. It's pretty easy. Just don't stand in the position where it's flashing. But if you manage to hit him by standing somewhere in the middle of the map, either where his shield is or around the circular cables, I guess those are, you should be able to hit Lotus and decrease your gauge. Same thing with the chains. If you were here for the other finishing school about Black Mage, these function pretty much identically. They come down, they do a little chip of damage, they're not that big of a deal, but they hone in on your position again. So make sure that you are standing close enough to Lotus at all times in P1, where the chains are also hitting him. And this is the new one. This doesn't appear in hard or normal. The big arm functions exactly like the Gloom big arm. Every now and then an indicator, in this case the blue indicator, will come out and show where the big arm is going to spawn. Afterwards, once it's done blinking, it's going to shoot out a giant wire that comes down. You do not want to be standing on it because it does 70% HP. You're always going to get chip damaged in here, so there's a good chance that it's pretty much a one-hit KO. More annoying than anything, these are robots that he spawns. They're going to, again, hone in your position, and they will explode once they touch somebody around the party, but it does take a second for them to explode. They're going to blink a little before they explode. Not that big of a deal, but make sure that you are leading them into a position that's safe. For example, if you're not going to be standing in the air after this, make sure that you're blinking, in the air. Let them blink in the air with you and then drop down. This is another thing that you don't have to worry too much about. It's not that big of a deal because it only does a tiny bit of chip damage, but these are the mines and the explosive debris. The mines are pretty simple. Blue mines are going to spawn. Don't stand on them. They're going to explode after a little bit. These debris are a little trickier because they're going to spawn all across the map in multiple spots, and there are a few safe spots. Notice that they only do 60% HP on explosion, so if with a little bit of chip you should be fine. Just don't stand on them when they explode. Again, everything's going to be indicated by blinking when they actually do explode. Once a debris has exploded and disappeared, that's a safe spot for you to stand on. No other debris is going to spawn there. Pretty much identical to the spikes in P2 of Black Mage. This is something I didn't know until I made this PowerPoint, actually. These saws do come up, but they're also indicators that tell you where the saws come from. If you look at these orange eyes right here, if the right eye blinks, like in this GIF, that means the saws will be on the right. If the left eye blinks, the saws will be on the left, and if both eyes blink, they're going to be in the middle. Just a little bit of chip damage, it's all good. You don't need to worry about this too much. And finally, this is the FMA. Every phase is going to have some different type of FMA that you need to watch out for because these pretty much insta-kill you. They do 100% HP. Every few seconds, or every like 30, 40 seconds, he's going to have a blue indicator that spawns on the floor. After a few seconds, it's going to zap with electricity and do a full shot. The only way to dodge it is to be in the air. When I was first learning this boss, I used blink a lot, but that meant I was getting hit by chains and all the other stuff that's happening in the air, right? Crossing lasers. Once you get the timing down, you only need to regular jump. You don't even need to flash jump or anything. As long as you're regular jumping and not on the ground the time that explodes, kind of like Von Bon doing his ground pound, you are safe. So remember to jump. Be in the air. Whatever works best for you. He has a little annoying attack. A lot of people aren't exactly sure why they're getting stunned in P1, but outside of the blue indicator on the floor, he does another blue explosion around him that causes a 2-second stun. This is the energy compression, just call it the stun or whatever. Make sure that anytime you see any sort of blue light on Lotus that you're away from the middle area. You don't need to step too far because the explosion pretty much only shoots the beam down to like here. But as long as you're away from it, you will not get stunned and you're going to be able to go to a safe spot. So regarding Annihilation, Annihilation again happens whenever your gauge is full. In P1 specifically, you're going to start at 0, and hopefully as Lotus is getting hit by the chains, the big legs, the small legs, the lasers, you are keeping his gauge below Annihilation. However, there are instances, where you have to play a little safer, where you're not completely used to the character and how it interacts with Lotus yet, where you do get into Annihilation. Make sure that you learn the positioning in this fight. He will spawn what are called horizontal bombardments. In this case, there's just one. In P2 and P3, they're going to be 2 horizontal bombardments. That pretty much means a laser of fire is going to shoot out of this area that's orange and blinking. Don't stand anywhere on it. It's pretty much anywhere you see a big indicator or something blinking, don't stand on it. He is also going to spawn these small flying, they're different to the other flying robots. These are called flying eyes, or they used to be. They're going to, after they hone in on your position, they're going to stay with you for a little bit, and then they're going to lock into one spot on the map. Once they lock into that spot, they're going to do an electricity explosion, and the electricity will knock you upwards, or fling you upwards. So make sure that you are putting that in a spot that is safe, both away from the bombardment and yourself, so that you're not getting hit by this. Sometimes the knock-up can lead you to get hit by other things. It can lead you to getting moved back into horizontal bombardment, etc., etc. Again, just don't stand where the horizontal bombardment is. In P1, it will always be on the left side of the map, so try to play closest to the right. In this phase, I find it easiest to stand around this middle area where this yellow box is. I put my fountain slightly to the side on the right. Sometimes I do accidentally put it in the middle, it happens, but playing around the right of him not only avoids where the bombardment area will be, but it also gives you a lot of opportunities to dodge when there are multiple patterns happening. For example, if he does a stun, that blue attack that locks you in for 2 seconds, you're not going to be able to get anywhere. But if you're standing on slightly to the right or slightly to the left of him, you should be able to back up before he does the stun, so you can avoid, say, an FMA, a crossing laser, some chains that come down. Otherwise, if you are in the middle, he does the stun, you are locked in. Not only are you taking damage from the stun attack itself, but you're not going to be able to dodge anything afterwards. Also, just a quick reminder, please use the airspace. I know this boss is really, he doesn't have any sort of flying attacks, doesn't really move anywhere in phase 1, so it gives you a lot of opportunities to, again, kite. If you remember that term from the Black Mage video, that means to put yourself in a position where attacks are going to hone in on you on that position and then move away from it. You can kite, for example, chains all the way up here, let them still hit the shield or Lotus himself, lose a little bit of Annihilation Gauge, and jump down. That goes for pretty much all attacks. In terms of bursting, what a lot of people will actually do if they're good with the timings of the shield is they will bind before the shield pops up. You do not want to burst as the shield is coming up because you're going to be losing a lot of your damage from the shield. It's going to go to the shield. It's literally like an extra HP bar on top of him. Your goal is to make sure that you break the shield by both attacking or letting the map attacks hit Lotus first. He breaks shield, you bind, and you burst. Or if you're really good with timing, you can do it like in the middle of that 30-second interval between his next shield. Make sure that if you're running with a partner that you guys are bursting together, so that one person doesn't, start the burst after the shield breaks, and then the other person starts their burst towards close to the beginning of the next shield coming up. All right, that was a lot for P1. And I know these are some of the fundamentals that are going to continue into the next 2 phases. Does anyone have any questions about P1? Okay. Yeah, this should be just pretty outside of the big leg, just review from hard, normal modes. The patterns are exactly the same, except for they are faster and they do a lot more damage. P2 is where you're going to get knocked around a lot. For me, this is the hardest phase because I've gotten a lot of experience in P3. I just find there's so many limited options compared to P3 where you have a lot more options to dodge his attacks. So in P2, these are patterns that are going to be recurring throughout the fight. The crossing lasers, the big leg, which is indicated by orange this time, and the chains. Those will all hone into where you are standing. Once they blink, get out of there. His first new attack, because he's no longer locked into that bubble space, is his teleport. Not going to do any damage, but he just goes to a location of one of the party members. If you're solo, he's going to go on top of where you were standing. This is the attack that annoys me, because it's really hard to tell exactly which direction he's going to push. He does a push attack that does a little bit of a knockback and doesn't let you do anything after the time of the knockback. This is not a lot of damage, so it's okay to get hit by it. The bigger thing is you are going to be knocked back. You repositioned, not by your own choice, and like locked in to not be able to do something for half a second. I have a really hard time paying attention to where he knocks back because, as you can see, he's facing left in this picture, but he can also potentially shoot his arm to the right, even though he's facing left. He can shoot in both directions. So the best way to tell is if both of you and your party member are playing on the exact same side. For example, if both of you are on the left side over here, like this little otter that's getting knocked back, if both of you are on the left, he will always shoot his push left. Vice versa. If both of you are on the right, he will always shoot his push right. Sometimes it's not very convenient for both of you to be on sides. That's okay. If you are close to him, stand on top of him. As soon as you see a blinking indicator for what direction he's going to push, basically just scoot a tiny bit in the opposite direction. In this picture, he's shooting left, so the otter is staying in the middle, and he's going to scoot a little bit to the right, still on top of him, and be completely safe from the knockback. Your other choice, don't stand near the push. We have some falling debris. These are almost identical to the ones in Black Mage. If you recall the whites, they're just going to be sets of them that come down in intervals of 1, except for they don't go from left to right. They're going to spawn from where he is standing and slowly, one by one, go outwards. Pretty much walk them, find the timing to rush them. They are a little bit slower than the Black Mage ones, so it may trip you up if you're used to that timing. Not a big deal, just do a little bit of stun. And these are the barriers. He's going to have blue spots. I don't know what these exactly are, blue explosions. Cylindrical explosions that happen in random parts of the map. As long as you're not standing on them, as long as you're standing in the free space of them, you should be completely fine. The bigger thing is there's a chance for you to pass through them. For example, if he accidentally spawns one on top of you, you can move out of the way, obviously, but you're going to get hit by it when it comes down. And it's a two-parter attack. It's going to come down light and blue and then explode. In the light blue part, you're going to get slowed. Not a huge deal, but it is a little annoying, especially if you're standing on top of him. And again, with the other example of the otter moving slightly right to dodge his push attack, that may hinder how much you are able to move. Just be wary of that, not a big deal. This is the bombardment protocol. Not an attack you need to worry about. They're pretty much like the angels in Black Mage. He's going to summon one of his eyes, these little robots, over his body. They're going to shoot blue particles outwards, honing in on your position. Doesn't do that much, nothing you have to worry about, but it's good to know that this attack will go away once you lower his Annihilation Gauge a little. Basically, by standing, using the crossing lasers, using the chains, using the legs, you can lower his Annihilation Gauge and destroy this thing, the bombardment protocol, and prevent that blue attack, the blue ball, from even being used. This is one of his more annoying attacks, I find, the position control protocol. Consider this pretty much the FMA for this this fight outside of horizontal bombardments that happen during Annihilation. He's going to spawn a blue aura around him. If you are standing anywhere in that blue aura outside of on top of him, or outside of on top of him, you will receive a little bomb. This is a 2-tick bomb that starts small, it grows in size, and then explodes. it's going to send you flying in the opposite direction of you facing. So for example, this character is facing left right here, right? As soon as the bomb explodes, he's going to shoot right upwards. The best way to dodge this is obviously not be in the vicinity of the blue aura, or simply stand on top of him. If you are on top of him, you should not get caught by the bomb, not receive this debuff. In the off chance that you are caught by this debuff, you have a few options. When you see the big tick, it's going there's like a light blue outline, and then that light blue outline disappears, forming a darker blue ball. That's the second tick of this. You can iframe before the final explosion happens on that second tick. An iframe will prevent it from, quote unquote, like the bomb popping, and you won't take any of the damage or be sent backwards. The other common thing to do is to use your blink. If the explosion happens on top of you, if the explosion happens on top of you and you are blinking, you will not get flung backwards, but still take the damage and the stun, which is a lot safer sometimes, especially if you're in Annihilation, where horizontal bombardments, all these other things coming down at you can be really tricky if you're getting sent flying versus if you're standing on a spot that's safe. Just be mindful of this. Again, stand on top of him. Here's a quick demonstration of where the area of the blue aura will hit. Basically, you are safe if you stand away from him. This guy is on the second platform, he won't get hit. Or this guy right here, who's directly on top of him. But you will get hit if you are anywhere on the sides. So the two options this otter has for the bomb is to either iframe or blink once the bomb pops. This phase continues with the horizontal bombardment, as I mentioned, but there are two of them this time. The top platform one goes from pretty much the right side, leaving you a tiny box on the left of the top platform, and the bottom one is on the left side, leaving you a tiny bit of space on the bottom right. The optimal position for this fight will depend on your character. A lot of people play top left, and I find that a great strategy because you can also use this airspace up here in case you need to blink past stuff, in case horizontal bombardment is happening. You can blink above, and then like if you have any extra air stall, use that time to stall out the fire. You can also use this tiny space on the left side. There's a tiny like pixels worth your character size on the left side right before the horizontal bombardment actually appears for you to be safe from the horizontal bombardment. I don't recommend using this, but if you happen to be knocked back from that position, you are safe in that tiny corner on the bottom left side. I personally don't like top left because this is out of habit. My Corsair was doing this before M3 and 4. So my summons, if I put them on the bottom platform, sometimes wouldn't track upwards to the top platform if he stood there. So I found it easiest for me and my partner to be standing on bottom right, where both of our summons can be hitting him consistently. Bottom right has a few advantages as well. You're never going to be worried about getting knocked back and having to use that tiny space over here unless you're, playing on this side. And I find that bottom left is slightly easier to dodge the bomb in case you get popped, because you can blink preemptively below the platform so that the top horizontal bombardment doesn't get to you. Obviously, you have a lot of airspace here as well to dodge the big arms, the chains, the horizontal bombardment, whatever have you. The eyes are going to come back in this Annihilation phase as well. They're going to be a slightly different color. They're not like the blue as if they were before, but they're going to function identically. They're going to hone in your location. They're going to keep tracking you, blink a little, and stand there and shoot electricity out. If you're standing on that electricity, you will take a little bit of damage and get knocked back, or knocked upwards. Don't stand on there. Easy peasy. The new thing is that they're going to be this red laser that will shoot fire downwards. It's more of an annoyance than anything else. I find that it's easiest to kite it by just kind of walking left and right. You can't really get hit by it very often if you're just continuously moving, but sometimes your movement options are really limited in Annihilation since you're trying to make sure that you're not standing in the area of the horizontal bombardments. So make sure that you know your positioning again. In this phase, don't get pushed. Easier said than done. But it is never a good idea to be standing away from him because you can't, in the off chance that he pushes right, you can't dodge it in case you get stuck in a corner or something. Stand on top of him to let yourself scoot in the opposite direction of his push. Also, be careful about standing away too far because that is the where the blue aura will spawn for the bomb. As you can see here, this is his shield, I guess, a shield indicator that indicates the space that you can be in so that you don't get popped by the bomb. And finally, make sure that you are staying on him consistently. Since he's teleporting around the map, he can be aggroing onto random party members. Again, aggro is, in this case, an invisible system where he's going to be tracking one out of the 2 party members based on some weird calculation that I don't know. But make sure that you are consistently standing together with your partner, or if you're soloing, aggro him in a spot that you are comfortable with playing in. So again, these are your 2 options, the top left and bottom right. Find what works best for you. Even outside of Annihilation, you should be using these spaces and placing your fountain there. And there's a lot of attacks here. I didn't really go into depth about like how much HP damage they do because a lot of those things are irrelevant, assuming that you have a fountain. As long as you put a fountain down, you and your partner have 20 uses to get by. You can get a few hits, hit up for a fountain recovery, and then move on to the next save spot, rinse and repeat. I find it really important, especially during Annihilation, because I'm so limited in space. I don't have many options outside of my own iframes or using blink and whatnot to dodge things, so I will get hit. Like in Annihilation, there's a good chance that I get hit. If I stand on here and I'm allowed to spam the fountain a little bit, just hitting up maybe twice, 3 times, that keeps me safe. Before we head into P3, I know, again, that was a lot. Does anyone have any questions about P2? Okay. And this is P3. What a lot of people consider the most difficult phase of this fight. When I was first fighting it, I thought it was the most difficult one because there is so much going on. You have all of the mechanics from the last few phases, right? And just reminder, you're going to be in Annihilation. This phase is you start at 100 instead of your gauge being at 0 when you come in. Your goal for this fight in particular is to lower your gauge as much as possible. Once you are at 0, he's going to go into safe mode outside of Annihilation, and the attacks are not going to be as pervasive as they are right now. The chains are going to happen again. The crossing lasers this time, there are 3 separate crossing ones, so they all do damage, but in turn also give him a lot more chip on his gauge. This, the laser coming downwards attack also happens again. This doesn't affect his gauge. And this is the big leg. This is the biggest thing to help you in this phase in particular. It does so much damage to Lotus's gauge, but in turn also does a lot of damage to you. So just be mindful of where you're letting that hone in. He's gonna have another push. It's very easy to tell what this push looks like because his thing is gigantic. It looks pretty much like the one in P2 except for it's red. This time, it does a 1-second stun. So be careful if you're getting knocked into a corner when you do that stun, because you won't be able to react with any additional attacks or move into a different spot. This is different to the drill. I just want everyone to see both of these pictures. The drill, there's a drill coming out, and a push. The push is a 1-part attack that pushes, stuns, and knocks back. The drill also knocks back and stuns. However, it is a two-part attack. The first part, he's going to have a drill come outwards in the direction he's facing. So in this instance, he's facing right. You're going to get hit by the drill. And he's going to explode the drill with another attack coming on the backside. As you can see, I said first hit only. You can dodge both of these attacks with ducks. However, in the case of the drill, you can dodge this attack, the first hit when the drill is coming forwards with the duck, but the second hit you will be hit. So make sure that you scoot back after you're dodging that attack, or just be away from its position entirely. If you're on the front side, you're gonna get hit by both hits, because stun, obviously, by both hits, and take 60% damage. Be very careful when you're on the front side of it, especially if you're, again, locked up against a wall and don't have many escape options. His teleport this time actually does a tiny bit of damage. If you're not sure what the chip is from, like you see that you die from something during a VOD, but you aren't getting hit by chains, aren't getting hit by any of those attacks, it's likely because of the shock teleport. Tiny bit of chip. This attack is called indiscriminate bombing. As you can see, this indicator in the back will explode these red boxes. It's pretty much like the slows in P2, the barriers. Don't stand on them, you'll be fine. They just do a tiny bit of stun when they do explode. And if you're, for some reason, fighting in the middle area and see this indicator in the back, when it actually explodes, it'll change colors. Small thing to know. These are cannons. They will continuously shoot downwards. They're going to have an indicator glowing in red before they shoot down. So as you can see right there, those two sets of cannons exploded because they had that red indicator. Two cannons will never shoot next to each other. So pretty much like lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice. Make sure that once you see that a cannon explosion comes downwards, that's safe for the next set of cannon explosions. Personally, it's not one of the attacks I worry about because I'm more concerned about making sure that his gauge goes down. So if you get hit by one of those two fire cannons, it's no big deal. Make sure you're just healing that off. This is the platform break. Bane of my existence, hate this attack. Used to be the most difficult thing when I was playing or first learning this fight. We would always have to do a call out, I would say plat. That means that the platform, a random platform that you are not standing on the top. So any of the top platforms can break. The ones that you are standing on will never break. These platform per time he does the attack, will split into 3 parts that will have a square diamond indicator. They'll shoot into your position or the position of the diamond and do a ton of knockback. These like send you flying. So please, please, please be very careful. If you see these or you see that the platform is breaking, let your party member know, especially if they're on the opposite side, because it can target wherever, both of you, or if you're playing solo, you, anywhere on the map. This is the FMA. A lot of people call this the web, FMA. I usually call it the cage because he like locks you in a cage. As you can see, he's going to have spider webs that kind of spawn all around the map. They're pretty much like the lucid ones in P1, little butterflies that shoot. But this time, if you get caught in any of them, you're going to be caged, like this little otter right here. You're going to be locked and not be able to do anything. If you get hit by the subsequent attack, which he does a explosion all around him, and you are caged, you lose a life. Cages can also be annoying because if you do get hit by a web, say on the opposite side of him, you can get caged and then other attacks can come in, such as the cannon can come in and hit you, the legs, whatever have you, can still hit you while you're in cage and you don't have the option to move. Your best bet with dealing this attack outside of literally being away from him is to make sure that you are standing on top of him. What I do is whenever I see this cage attack, I say cage, web, FMA, whatever you want to call it, stand in any of the white space. So the space that doesn't have this web, the orange web. Once he explodes the web, they're going to go away. It's pretty easy to tell. If you didn't get locked and caged, you're safe. Hop on top of him immediately after. This blue area is the safe space where you can stand without the explosion hitting you on the outside. Annihilation is really, really tough to deal with in this phase. Again, it's going to be up the entire time, and you need to make sure that you are utilizing as much space as possible. As you can see, or if you've done this fight before, you know that there's a lot more space to use in P3 than there is in P2. Quick reminder for everyone, use your airspace. In the last two phases, you've had to use the airspace to dodge not only horizontal bombardments, but bring the eyes towards you, use it to lure chains, whatever have you. Continue using that airspace. A lot of people lock themselves to the floor, not a great idea. For me, I found what has worked best is putting the fountain to slightly the right of a portal. I'm going to mention the portal in a second. There are two portals, this one and one on bottom right. These are like the mini-map portals. If you hit up on them, you're going to teleport to a different position on the map. If you put the fountain slightly to the right of the portal, this leaves you all the space on the left to dodge in case he's anywhere on this platform, but most of the time the horizontal bombardment will not hit you since it's going to be slightly on the edge of this fountain. I use this portal a lot. Again, this portal is going to take you to the bottom right. I find it really useful when I need a second to breathe. One of the techniques to getting through P3 is to make sure that you are not overwhelmed by how many attacks that he's doing. Sometimes you just need a breather from everything. Say he's on the top left, there are legs, there's webs, there's all that stuff going on. You can hit up on the portal and be safe for a second outside of attacks that literally just hone on your position. And then once he teleports to the bottom side, you can go back up here and play top left corner until he comes back and you're more confident. It's very good to make sure that you are utilizing all of your options. And make sure, especially in this phase, the other two phases you can get away with being an Annihilation. This phase, it is very, very, very difficult to stay in Annihilation, and it's also a lot easier to get out of it because of that. Use the chains, use the lasers, use the legs. Make sure that they are hitting Lotus and not you. If you are getting hit by them, if you're hitting him and yourself, it's pretty much a neutral, net neutral, but if you hit him with, say, the leg, by blinking upwards while the leg comes down, he will take a ton of damage onto his Annihilation Gauge and lower it very quickly. Give yourself as much breathing room by being out of Annihilation as possible. In terms of actually where to stand on the boss to both burst, attack, and deal with these map-wide patterns, make sure you're standing on top of him. It's been the general thing during all three phases. Directly on top of him, you should be able to dodge everything. And make sure that you are binding and bursting together if you are playing with another party member. This phase is very integral for that because the map attacks are going to continue attacking as he's bound. It's not like those things are going to stop. So giving yourself, the two of you, the most ample burst, the most 20-second, 30-second if you have Jenny iframe, long duration burst will let you guys output the most damage versus one person's bursting 15 seconds after the other person. The second person is only going to have 15 seconds of burst and save time of him being caged or bound, whereas the other person has the full time. That's pretty much it with the fight. These are some of the base drops. He drops the intense power crystals for Mesos. Annoying thing is he drops these cores. Same things from normal and hard. I don't know why anyone would be using those at this point because you're likely like done with your gear. But he does drop a different android to hard mode. This is the Annihilation Lotus Word. It's cute. He drops Abslap boxes. Again, don't know why anyone is using that gear at this point. He also drops the white jade ring boxes that have a higher chance for level 4 rings. These only drop level 3 and level 4 rings. And this is the important stuff that you're probably looking out for, right? The Blackheart and the Berserked, but more importantly, the Total Control, the TC. This is a starable pitched item that drops exclusively from Extreme Lotus. It's very, very rare. It's like same rate as all the other pitched, especially compared to the Berserked, which should be dropping more commonly. I don't see them that much. The TC is very valuable to your pitch set because you can start to like 18 and 19, and it can be pretty much equivalent to a Blackheart, pretty much replacing it entirely, and you don't have to use Blackhearts consistently for the character that has the TC on it. All right, that was a lot of information. Again, does anyone have any questions about this fight? I know I was breezing through it because a lot of it should just be review from your own runs of hard and normal.
Yeah, I have one small question.
Mm-hmm.
So with the plats in P3, did they stun in normal and hard? Because I don't remember them ever stunning me. Unless I just happened to accidentally dodge them every single time and not noticed it, but
I have to believe that they do.
I don't remember. I don't think I'm not sure I remember them ever stunning, at least in like normal or hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'll look out for it the next time, but I don't know if that was an extreme only thing.
Yeah. I have to believe they do. I think I've gotten hit by a few times. The more annoying thing is like you getting knocked back into a corner and then you not being able to get out of that corner and getting hit by, say for example, like the first hit hits you, the 2 subsequent hits. This being knocked back, just knocked back, not even like considering a stun, is going the next 2 are gonna hone in on where you're standing and you're gonna get like knocked by all 3.
Yeah. Okay.
Answer that, I don't know. Extreme definitely does stun.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions? Anything about positioning, dealing with annihilation, whatever have you? All right, great. So if anyone would like to practice, let's go ahead and meet at channel 5 at Lotus. Okay, this is going to be a demonstration of the Extreme Lotus fight. I'm just going to narrate everything as it goes along. It's a little easier than doing it while I'm in the fight itself and I have to worry about actually like doing damage. Make sure that you're going in buffed up. Everything should be easy peasy as long as you are practicing and confident. The first phase begins like this. Both characters will land in the middle. Depending on the person that is origining at the very beginning, you can set up however you want. As you can see, I put the fountain in the middle just because we were standing there, but otherwise I would put it slightly to the right for my partner. My character is standing slightly right to where he is so that I have more options to dodge. I'm using those crossing lasers right there and using the airspace by jumping to lower his gauge. I'm not doing a great job at dodging the chains, but the leg did hit him. Whenever I don't dodge a chain and it does hit me, it's pretty much a net neutral. He's gonna get hit, but if I'm getting hit at the same time, the gauge isn't gonna change much. Again, crossing lasers and using that space between the mines. That blue explosion right about there is the FMA attack. As you can see, my character is not on the ground, so I am all good, and I won't be hit by the electricity. Otherwise, it is a one-shot. This is pretty much it with this phase. There's nothing difficult. The shield is going to show up in a tiny bit. Right there. And with this shield, as you can see, both my partner and I are attacking, so we're doing a lot of damage to the shield, but those crossing lasers are going to help us clear the shield entirely without us having to attack. So anytime you see crossing lasers, chains, or the big leg, use those on the shield, especially to break them. This is a really tricky pattern because there's a lot going on. Luckily, my character had the mobility to up jump and then like back jump. Not all characters have that, so you have a lot of options to either blink in the air while that happens, use your iframes, or you know, whatever your character has at your disposal. And as you can see right here, it's small, but my burst is about to come up. There's a shield up. I want to make sure that I'm breaking the shield so that my partner and I are having the most optimal burst where we're not wasting our damage inside of the shield. I do my origin after the shield breaks. Burst, 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 burst. And that's pretty much it with this. All the patterns continue all the way until you are at 0% HP on the boss in P1.
So is attacking this shield like the same as the like theory behind attacking the BM shield, or is it like different?
If you were
With
talking
like
about
when you want to like time your burst and stuff.
Yes. The white shields that
Oh,
pop
it is
up after every
okay.
FMA, it is the same.
Yeah.
It is not the same as the bubble shield. So there's not going to be a damage reduction if you're outside of the shield. This is like whenever an FMA happens in Black Mage, a shield in the HP bar where it turns white will appear. And yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It functions.
I was like, so like, does it? What? All right. So I guess my question is more: does it does it really matter when you origin or burst as long as you're doing, like, as long as you have your burst stuff up when the shield comes up, then that's when you want to be bursting. It sounds like. Or no?
No, it's different with the Black Mage one in particular because the Black Mage doesn't have any options for you to lower his shield outside of literally just attacking. Since all of the field all the field attacks in Lotus do damage to the shield, and they do a lot more damage than your character, it's most optimal for you to break the shield using your own attacks plus the map attacks, break the shield, and then burst. So you're getting all your damage off on his main HP bar, not his shield HP bar.
Okay.
Yeah. Black Mage, it's like you're the only damage source that's gonna break the shield, so you just have to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yes. Great question.
All right.
All right. That's it with P1. We're gonna head straight into P2. As you can see, my partner and I set up on the bottom right corner. I placed my teleporter there. If I had my fountain up, I would also be placing it there. But we are just using this small space on the right to dodge everything. It's pretty manageable. I set up my burst. I didn't do a great job of standing on top of him so that the crossing lasers and the chains hit him, but sometimes, you know, you gotta do what you just gotta do. I get into Annihilation pretty soon here. He does that blue bubble, and as you can see, my partner actually gets hit by it because he has the bomb on top of him. Whereas since I was an iframe, I didn't get hit by the aura at all, so I didn't get hit by the bomb attack. Right there, neither of us got hit because we were standing on top of him. So what's slightly different about this Annihilation versus the Annihilations in P1 and P2? P1, you should optimally not be getting into Annihilation, and it's pretty easy not to, unless you're just like flinging yourself all around the map. In P2, you will likely get into Annihilation at least like 3-4 times. It's really difficult, again, to consistently have the attacks hit him while you're attacking, while you're dodging. So it's inevitable. When you are in Annihilation, you cannot lower it in phase 2 with the field attacks. You just have to wait it out. So your best options are to make sure you are playing away from the horizontal bombardments and him as much as possible. Since I'm most comfortable bottom right, that's where I opt to play, but I also have the top left. I can just tell my partner, like, hey, I'm in Annihilation, can you like manage the boss? I'm gonna go hide for a second. And in that instance, I would use the top left to compose myself and then come right back into the bottom right. It's nice for marksmen and bowmaster as well, because and blaze wizards, because they have the option of teleporting from wherever on the map back to the spot that they were standing in. The fountain is consistently on the right. I can't emphasize that enough. You and your partner need to manage your fountains consistently. There's so much chip damage in this fight, and you will need to practice just healing whenever you feel like you are in trouble. It's one of those instincts that you just kind of develop through the fight. As you can see, your HP go down, you know, okay, I'm below 60%, I should be healing, you know, using the fountain to get my 30-40% back. I'm standing on top of him and doing snipe, so I'm not getting hit by any of his push attacks right there, because I'm standing behind him, or on top of him normally, and then slightly behind him whenever he does the push indicator. Let him get hit by crossing lasers. Burst, burst, burst. And one thing I did not mention, which I think is really important for everyone who is playing this fight, use your burst time to actually lower the Annihilation Gauge. In this instance, because both of us were bursting, I was trying to stand as much on top of him as possible to make sure that the attacks were continuously hitting him, and then once everything came down, I just ran away. There was a second of me being outside of the war, and that was what that was. In P3 in particular, because you do not have much downtime, use all 20 or 30 seconds of your burst to stand on top of him, let whatever hit him during that time lower your Annihilation Gauge as much as possible. Pretty much it for P2. And this is P3. As you can see, this is a little under half of the video, but most of the fight actually happens in P3. You come in with your gauge completely full, right here. I'm completely in Annihilation. He will be in the same spot that he's on during the other fights, that like top middle platform. And depending on where your party is standing or whoever has aggro, he will teleport, do the shock teleport to one of those people on the map. If you both are on the top left like we are, which is the optimal spot, he will always teleport to the top left platform. FMA, but I bypassed it by bursting. And here's a good demonstration of what to do during that burst time to lower his gauge. I'm letting, well, I'm not doing a great job at it, but I'm letting the chains hit him. I'm letting this leg right here hit him. So I can lower the Annihilation Gauge as much as possible during that time. I let those crossing lasers hit him. Platforms will not do much, but we just call those out anyways. And the eyes. Change. There's that FMA, the cage, web. We both were standing on top of him, so we were completely okay during the explosion, and we didn't get caught by the webs. If you do, I should mention, if you get caught in the web and your character becomes caged, but you are standing on top of him, you will still get hit by the explosion. You cannot get hit by the explosion only if your character is not locked. I'm going to rewind this just a second so that we can see when I am out of Annihilation. Right here. After this cage, the explosion happens. There's going to be an indicator that says system overheated, activating safe mode. These are the 20-something seconds that I have outside of the Annihilation to compose myself. The background's not as hectic. There's not all this stuff coming down. There are no like fire lasers, eyes, whatever have you during safe mode. But after those 20 seconds, I will immediately go back into Annihilation. As you can see there, that leg also hit him, but it didn't increase or decrease the gauge. When you are in safe mode, your gauge only changes over time. There's nothing that you can do to lower it again, or if you get hit by stuff, it won't increase. Right there, I'm kiting that eye. And that's partially what I meant about getting stuck with that drill / knockback. Whenever you get stuck between a wall, because the horizontal bombardment creates a wall where it's shooting, I got stuck there and I wasn't able to dodge anything subsequently, so I got hit by more chip attacks and died. If I was in the air in that instance, completely away from it, since I'm not getting hit on the backside with the second attack, if I was in the air during that instance, I would be able to dodge everything after the drill came down because I wouldn't be stunned. And here's me waiting out the timer. Here's another thing that I think a lot of people don't utilize enough. I talk a lot about utilizing the space. Make sure you know when or how long the indicators will stay up. As you see, I hop into the space that actually has the horizontal bombardment before it explodes, using that as a safe space. You can do that. If you know something is going to come out, but it hasn't come out yet, use that space right before and then move away if it is like a safe spot. Out of Annihilation again, use the time during our burst to do that. And burst, 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 burst. It's not very interesting when I am in iframe. Right there is a good example of using the teleporter. For anyone who hasn't seen, this yellow space right here is the teleporter. It will put you to the bottom right of the map. FMA. Legs. And if you're doing this in a party, the only things that are, everything is instance except for the platforms. So you don't have to do many callouts. And if you don't want to do the platforms and the FMA is also not instance. If you don't want to do the callouts for those two, it's pretty obvious when those happen. But just in the off chance to have an audio cue when those happen, you should call it out. And it died. The knockback can be very, very dangerous for that reason. I got knocked back immediately in, or right before the horizontal bombardment happened, so I flew and died. Okay. Dang, I'm getting hit with every drill in this run. Right there was the use of the teleporter. Let's scroll back a tiny bit. My personal teleporter is to the right of the portal. The actual portal itself is used right there for me to go to the opposite side and catch my breath for a second because I knew I was stuck in that position. It was scary. Use that to your advantage. For example, if you are playing as a duo, he's always going to have aggro on you if you're soloing, so use that how you may. But we use it a lot whenever we party because just in the off chance that one of us is potion locked and the fountain is down or whatever, or we just have too many attacks to dodge up here, one person will stay on the top left platform to hopefully maintain as much aggro as possible, and then the other person go to the bottom right just to catch their breath and immediately come back top left. Explosion. And I ascended through all of that. We are out. One of the reasons why you should also stay on the top left platform is the platform breaks. They can break any of the top platforms, right? Like they can break this top left, middle left, or right top. If neither of you are standing on this platform, or if Lotus is not standing on this platform, he has the potential of breaking it. If you have summons, including the fountain, any personal summons, anything like that, they will disappear with the platform break as if it was like lucid. And you would have to reset those things up. It's so annoying when that happens, so make sure that you are keeping him on top left. He will never break a platform that he is standing on. Therefore, you stand on it, he stands on it, no platform break on you. You just need to watch out for the other platforms breaking. Yeah, that's pretty much it with the fight. I don't think there's anything too new or difficult with Extreme Lotus, except for it takes a lot of practice. All the mechanics being on top of each other, adding in the big leg, and making sure that you are more consistently paying attention to your own annihilation is very different to maybe breezing through normal, breezing through hard, or like you get annihilation like once during the fight outside of P3 during in the easier modes, so you never actually have to pay attention to the attacks that happen there. Versus here, those happen consistently, and for the most part, you should play as if you were in annihilation the entire time. Does anyone have any final questions about this fight?
Wait, so if you're like already pretty comfortable doing like hard Lotus, is it just like not that much different? Or it's like, do you need like that much more practice with it?
Well, making sure that you have the damage, obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have a hard time getting into this boss solely because of the damage. Your best damage check is to make sure you and your partner get out of P1 within 8 minutes.
Okay.
I personally don't like using hard as a reference to practicing for this fight. I feel like the patterns are a lot easier to dodge because maybe they're not interlaced as much, but the attacks in hard, especially before this boss got nerfed, came like that. Like you just got to respond to everything immediately. Versus hard, there's a lot of leeway. It's more so for you to get used to, say, like knowing where to stand during an FMA, knowing where to stand when he does his bomb attack in P2. Those things you can use hard as a reference for.
Okay.
Yeah. Any final thoughts? Any concerns? And if anyone wants to practice this boss, I can always take them. Just please let me know in advance.
The conclusion is that he's really mean, so be prepared for that.
Yeah, it's awful when you're first learning. All right, that concludes today's class. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming, and we hope that you all join for next week, where we're going to be speed learning Siren and Kalos. Bye.